Yeah, I'll be 23 back on that found property case, and I'll be 76 to the Williams Road address to see if I can find the alert. 449-1120. 449-1121, thank you. 10-4. Code 4. Fairview 535. Yeah, that was great college. 535. Should be. Got no number of someone who plugged into a house. I'll flight up that way. Caller is now been able to close the front door. He's now pounding on the door, trying to get in still. There's no flight for a Proctor here. Not kind of here on. Number 21 is open.
Switch is on, here comes the throttle. Circuit breakers in. We have separation. Inboard and outboard, they're on. We're coming forward with the side stick. Looks good. I've got a blowout. Vapor 3. Pitch to 0. Pitch is out. I can't hold it altitude. Correction. Help almost off. Try to flight breathe emergency. Flight call. I can't hold it. She's breaking up. She's breaking.
Just the truth, baby. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Tonight, I have two very special guests, Karen from True Crime and Some Wine, the very popular TikTok show, and Matt, who has also become a famous TikToker. Boundless Millennial is how you guys know him. We're going to go over the case evidence, but also the whole free Karen Reed experience with the wars on social media, the YouTube grifters, and the cult of Odin. We'll have a lot more fun than usual because these two are much more entertaining than me. Before I bring them on, in the unlikely event that U.S. Attorney Josh Levy is watching tonight, do the right thing, damn it. If you got duped, don't double down by jeopardizing a murder case. Don't allow innocent people to be smeared. Do the honorable thing. Making a mistake is embarrassing, professionally damaging, but it's not dishonorable. Admitting to making a mistake takes courage. Years ago, someone was lacing Tylenol bottles with poison. Several people died, but they did the hard thing. They pulled every bottle off the shelf. Because they did the right thing, even though it was hard, their stock soared and it became legendary. So just do the right thing. Do it, though, whatever it costs you, because it's the right thing. All right, so let me bring in my special guests. This is Karen. You guys know Karen from True Crime and Some Wine, and this is Matt, Boundless Millennial. Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Great to have you. I haven't actually had the pleasure of having Matt on before, or even have seen him live. We all watch his really entertaining TikTok videos. So this will be an experience everybody's looking forward to. Karen, welcome back.
Great. Your editing is amazing. I don't know what you do. I have to reach out to you about that.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome.
What program do you use for editing, Matt?
Most of the time CapCut because it's on the phone and it's easy.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's better apps, but I don't have time for that.
No, you do a great job with that one. You have little funny things going on in different corners of the video. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's huge. You guys have a huge TikTok following. And as I was telling you before the show, I talked to a lot of people that are looking forward to meeting you when this case is over. So I don't know if that can be arranged or not.
I have gotten a few invitations for drinks once the case is over to celebrate. So
I have a few people on my TikTok. They're like, "Tell Matt I want to be his bestie." I'm like, "I know, me too."
All right. So I want to ask you both this, and this is a question that I had asked Karen previously when she was on the show, but we'll have her do it again because there might be some different people here tonight. But we'll start with Matt. So bring us through the evolution of your thoughts on this case. When you first came into it, learned about it, what grabbed you and made it interesting, and then how have things changed? And for the moment, let's just stay focused on the case, not so much the other aspects of the Free Karen Reed experience.
Yeah, for sure. So I first heard about it from my brother's girlfriend, and I'm in Florida, so like I wasn't like aware and whatever, and like, but this is the kind of stuff that I talk about on my channel anyway, like corruption, that kind of thing. And she's like, "Oh, I have the perfect thing for you," and I was like, "Oh, great!" So I, consumed a lot of blogs, and I was like, "Oh my god, this is a great story." So I started I made a couple videos on it, and then. And I was going down the rabbit hole reading all the blogs, and then I started to find the court documents. Read through those. I mean, I never really believed the dog bite thing because I was like, that's not dog bites. So like certain things were like I could tell that I was a little bit biased because I was like hoping that they didn't test for like the dog DNA. I was like, I don't think they should do that. Because I just wanted, I don't know, like I didn't want to change my mind. Like the conspiracy thing, it sells. Like that's what's big. That's what people want to hear. That's good for your views and likes and all that. And so I think the big one was I was reading one of his blogs when Turtle Boy was talking to Paul O'Keefe. And just like reading through that one, I was just like, I didn't realize that that family like totally was like completely confident like that it was her. And I was like, and they saw her that morning and stuff. And I was like, And then I like reread the affidavit and like the whole dialogue of Jen McCabe orchestrated the whole thing. Once you read the affidavit, it's like, all right, there's no way that she got to all these people.
Right.
And then her health data, like the health data that came out saying that he was inside the house, but he went up and downstairs before he even got to the house. And it says that in their expert's report, but her defense team still like laid it out as if it happened, the only explanation is that he was inside the house, but it happened before he got to the house. So he was probably driving up a hill or something. And it's like, holy crap. And that was kind of the point where I was like, and then I would think it was like the court date happened right after that. Cause I started to realize, but I was like, I don't want to get into it with Turtle Boy. So I didn't want to say anything, but then I saw them all like booing the family outside the courthouse. And then I just like, this is whatever. And I started making videos about the truth. And that was it.
It's really interesting the point you bring up there. The fact that this should be a lot of things in this case that give people at least cause to question the conspiracy theory. And certainly one of them is the fact that the victim, John, his family, none of them believe in the conspiracy. That should be something that should have given people pause, right? So,
sure.
Karen, what was your process, Karen, on this? And you're out of state.
Yes, I'm out of state. My best friend lives in Massachusetts, and actually one of her relatives lives in Canton. And so he actually knows some of these people. And she's like, this is right up your alley. She sent me Turtle Boy's blog, that first one that took off. And again, I never heard about him before. And I was like, wow, this is, again, it's really interesting. It's really juicy. Like, I can't wait to get this on my TikTok. And I probably did the TikTok within a day or so. And that one really took off, because I was like, all this juicy stuff is happening. That one had hundreds of thousands of views. And then, each time I would hear like a new blog, I would make a new TikTok. And then I think part of it was watching that and talking to my dad. My dad was a lieutenant, and he's like, Karen, no, it's not possible. So that, and then also the fact that, and even with what he was saying with the Apple data, like obviously he wasn't in the house at that time. And then I'm like, does my car really monitor me? Like, does it register me taking steps when I'm driving? And I didn't think it does, but it does if you're going up or down a hill. So really, he was a big part of it. And then again, with the family, because I realized not one person that actually loves John and knows John and even his friends believe any of this. They know exactly what happened, and then I spoke to some of John's friends and we were laughing on the phone about how kind of crazy this whole conspiracy is, He's like, how could Jen convince Karen that she hit him? It's like, I don't care how drunk somebody is. You're not going to be able to be like, oh, by the way, you hit him and now start telling everybody that. So it's just crazy. But listen, we were all in the same spot at one point. So I'm glad we made it back to reality.
Yeah, actually, Matt brings up another really interesting point there when he says how all of us as YouTube, content creators, me on YouTube and you guys on TikTok, recognized early on that this would be a conspiracy cell, and this would be something that would be juicy, that would help get us followers and stuff like that. But then you get to that difficult point where you're like, all right, maybe this doesn't really add up, but it's against your interest to say that. So,
and that's a big thing that I wanted to point out, because I can't tell you how many times they say it about you, Kev, about me, that, you know, we're grifting, we're trying to take the opposite point of view to get more views. And I'm like, listen, I deleted all the ones that had the most views. And these videos, right, Matt, they have so much less views than any other case that I do, because in the turtle land, this is the biggest thing ever. But in the real world, there are many more cases that are much bigger that people are more interested in. And it's like, we're taking the hit and then we're getting accused of doing the opposite. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But isn't that
Matt,
true? Haven't you all lost either views, follows? So
yeah,
for them to say it, it's like laughable.
I lost like 800 during one show. It was like literally back in September when Turtle Boy was in there, kind of he kept accusing me of both sidesism.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
What a crazy thing to accuse somebody of. Like, that's a crime, both sidesism, you know? And and I accused him. I said, well, you're working directly with the defense. And he said, liar.
Oh.
and then people started, you know, really going crazy at me. And about 800 people left right then and there.
Wow. That's a lot. It is a lot. And you know what? It's not easy to, you know, hear all the negative stuff and all the, you know, going after you in real life. It's really not easy. So it's to make that first video where I'm like, you know what, I'm questioning things, was really hard. For me, at least.
Was there ever a time with either one of you guys where, when you were doing the videos that leaned conspiracy, that you started to feel guilty about them?
So yes, for me, I did. And once it like set in, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm in the same boat. Like, I'm hurting these people, you know, like I don't want to accuse innocent people. So immediately I deleted any ones that I had on the conspiracy. And then everyone was like, where are your videos? You know, and I'm like, no, I'm done with it. You know, I've changed my mind, but only in this case are you not allowed to change your mind. Any other case, fine. Not this one. We all learned that, I think.
Matt?
Yeah, I had one that was ready to go when I realized, and I never posted it because I was like, God damn it, this video is so good.
I know.
I get like so many views. I was like, but I can't do it. And I kept the old ones up because I figured those will draw the people in. And like a lot of people are like, why'd you change your mind? I'm like, the facts. Like I didn't know.
Change your mind. Yeah. People, it's America. And the facts, the data. I mean, at this point, there's no question about it to me. And I know some people that bothers them, but you know, we could go through some of that if you guys want. I mean, it's just pretty obvious.
Yeah, for me too. But I have no skin in the game though. So if tomorrow it's, you know, Sean is correct, and the black hot helicopters that are right now circling Canton actually land and arrest everybody, and it's a huge conspiracy, I don't care.
Neither do I.
Life goes on. I just want the truth. I don't really, but you know, I end up taking a strong position. It's just because the evidence is so compelling. But if it turns out that all of that was somehow elaborately manufactured, I don't care.
No, I don't either. And I feel like, you know, everyone's like, well, what are you going to do if you were wrong? Nothing. You know, I'll be wrong. That's it. I'll just be wrong and I'll move on. So I don't know what they would want me to do, but
I can tell you, so going over the evidence a little bit, just without there's so much evidence in this, we can go crazy, but just some of the main evidence. For me, I remember in April, if you guys, I don't think you were following it then yet, Karen, but you probably were, Matt. And in April, when Turtle Boy's first story broke, that was on April 18th. And I had a couple of messages from friends in law enforcement saying, wow, you got to check this out. And the 227 search for how long to die in the cold. And at that point, it was presented as though it was just data. And I didn't know much about data back then. I thought data's data, you know, it's not disputable. And I was like, if that happened, there definitely had to be a conspiracy. Did you guys go through that with that at all too?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a strong, strong one for sure.
That was probably the main thing for me, because I'm like, there'd be no reason, whatsoever. But at the same time, always in the back of my mind was a house full of law enforcement individuals. This is what they come up with. They're like, oh, we'll let the cold. Hopefully it's cold enough that he dies out there, but let's give him enough time. It just doesn't really add up. It's like one of the worst possible things you could do if you're hoping that somebody dies. I mean,
right. What if somebody drives by and rescues him and then he tells the story? So why don't you finish him off?
Back an hour later? What if Karen came back an hour later, looking for him? It's just so
lucky law firm.
Oh, lucky, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, that whole thing, I don't know what's going on with that. Like, I think that he was like, you know how there's cases where people come out and say and lie? So like, I think that might be the case, because why was he never in the discovery prior to Turtle Boy's interview? And then when the cops interviewed him, they were more concerned about his contact with Turtle Boy than anything else. So It kind of seems like maybe he said it in the beginning and they vetted him and they were like, he wasn't even there that a night or didn't even plow or whatever. I don't know. It's so weird.
Well, on top of that, I'm pretty sure that they canceled his grand jury testimony, right?
Was that the grand jury for the original Karen Reed's indictment, or the grand jury for the
federal grand jury?
Oh. Yeah.
Yep. His testimony.
You would think he'd be a pretty important piece of it, right?
Yep.
But it sounds like he's not.
So
and I think in his defense, I think there's a pretty good chance that he's not lying. I think that he's told his story 3 times officially, and we've seen the transcripts for all 3, and it's remarkably consistent. So whatever story he settled on in his mind back a couple of years ago, he's still sticking with. I just think that it's one of those things that every case that I've ever looked at, there are witnesses that come out of the woodwork that say things that just don't end up matching the physical evidence or what other witnesses have seen. And you can never sometimes explain it. Human memory is very malleable and it can be manipulated unintentionally. And so I don't even try to explain it. I mean, it just doesn't seem.
That was one of those situations to me where, like, and I've probably given this example before, but like if somebody asked me what time I ate breakfast yesterday, like I could give you around, I don't know, I can't be like, 7:23, So even all of the people, like it was at this time and this time exactly, on a night where everybody's drinking, I'm sure that things get a little mumbled up throughout the night, and that the timing isn't exactly what they say, they're basically, they're estimating, I think it was around this time. But truthfully, would you guys know that? If somebody asked you today what time you ate dinner yesterday, would you know to the moment when you were drunk? I don't know.
Yeah. And then
oh, sorry.
And then once no, that's okay. And once it's hard with 3 sometimes. I'll stay quiet usually. But no, just one, sometimes at the time when you're plowing, you're not expecting anything unusual to happen. And then days later, the next day you would have found that someone died, but over the days you start piecing it together and you're taking bits of memory and trying to stitch it. Well, did I see something? And it's hard to know if your memory is really accurate in that case there, because you didn't have any reason to pay attention during that night.
Right, which is kind of what I believe also about people not seeing him. If they're not looking in that area of the yard, then it's very easy to just drive away. Like, why would you be staring at specific spots in the yard on, dark when it's snowing? So yeah, people could have missed it if they didn't know that they should be looking for something.
Right.
It's different if you know, like, oh, there's a body there, you're going to look there, but you're just leaving.
So the evidence back at the beginning that was most compelling to me was, yes, there was that. Then there was the other data that supposedly showed John walking up and down the stairs, the health app data. Do you guys want to talk about the health app versus the GPS versus the Waze data, any of that stuff? Does that interest you at all? Or?
Well, I could say one thing. When in the beginning, I thought they were talking about his Apple Watch, but it wasn't even that. So
right.
That was another big thing to me, because the Apple Watch to me is more accurate than my phone, going around with me. Yeah.
And there's not necessarily a discrepancy between the health app data and the Waze data or the GPS, because the health app data is just somebody, I know we don't know if that's Rich Green making that interpretation or the app itself. That, we don't know. We'll see during the trial. But somebody is interpreting change in elevation as going up and down stairs. So that's seems to me like the kind of thing that'd be pretty easy to not be accurate about. If she's driving slow, or I don't know how those apps work, but I know that GPS data is very solid. And the ways, I mean, at 12:20, John, they were a little more than a mile away, and they know exactly where they are. And the Waze data shows that he searched for 34 Fairview. Now, that's a 3-minute drive. And then the data also shows that they drove past the street. They missed it, the turnoff. So then they had to turn around. So you lose a few more seconds that way. While all of that was happening, that's when the health app data supposedly says he was going up and down 3 flights of stairs.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and one thing about that data, it's any change in, I think it's a change of 10 meters counts as 1 flight of stairs. And like looking at, because I looked at all the roads in that area, and it's up and down. So easily. And I've recorded like 40 flights before when I've been in Seattle, and I did not climb 40 flights of stairs. So that's all it is. It's your elevation change. I think you probably have to be going slow, because if you're going fast, I think it knows you're in a car. But if they're driving around slow looking for the house, like it's very easy to understand like that they're probably just like rolling along looking for numbers.
Yeah, but one thing I was going to ask you guys that I haven't tried. So with your Apple Watch, it would probably not do that in the car, right?
Apple Watch is a lot more accurate.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. So like, it's not going to register steps on my watch sitting in the car, whereas it may on my phone.
Right. Because your phone, like if you think about it, if it's in your hand and you're walking, it's very different movement than if it's in your pocket.
Right.
If it's in a top pocket, so it's all over the map when it's on your phone.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Jules points out that the phone itself, well, she said something about the seat going up and down, but yeah, the phone could be moving within the car a little bit too, although I don't know how much that probably only accounts for 3 or 4 feet at the most. So yeah, and we don't even know if the app said that or if it's just Rich Green trying to say that. You got to remember, these defense lawyers go out, and that's their job, and they find experts whose job is to testify for them. And it doesn't mean that they're lying, but they're going to find the most defense-friendly interpretation of the data.
Yeah, and make it fit this theory that they were coming up with. I mean, it just goes so nicely with everything, the dog and the Google search, all of that. Meanwhile, now I'm like looking at it like, imagine being Jen McCabe and you just get this phone call in the morning and you're trying to help out, and now all of a sudden you're like, soccer mom turned killer or a conspirator overnight,
Right. I mean, I think it's going to be huge when it comes out what actually went down, because if you think about it, why did they ever go back to Karen's house? Like, they must have really not believed her. She must have been really acting erratic. You know what I mean? Where they're like, all right, he never went to, like, he never got dropped off there. So, like, he's not there. So they must have just been like, we don't even believe this girl. She needs to drop her car at home because she is a drunk mess. And we need to like see what's going on.
Right.
So it's like very obvious.
To make that fit, Turbo's like, well, they needed more time for the elements to get him. So like, they wasted time going back. And like, what a little weird thing, but that's what they did, They had the time to build that kind of connection for all of it, when really they're probably like, she's so drunk, let's go see what's going on. Get her out of her car, that kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah, and I wonder, like, so Karen, you know how, like, she's caught on the cameras going back towards where, I don't know if she ended up finding it, but, like, it seems like, to me, like, she was drunk. And at first, I was, like, kind of sympathetic, where I was like, oh, she just was so far gone that she, like, started to remember pieces, which I think maybe is what happened. But we haven't heard that voicemail, so like I think that might be the big thing where she's like, "Yeah, you broke the back of my fucking car too, bitch."
Right.
Like, you know what I mean?
A lot of things that I think none of us have seen that maybe the family has that makes them even more confident in their beliefs. But even without that, I think that they just they knew her, they knew their relationship, they knew what she was like. I mean, obviously, the story they tell is like, well, they wouldn't want to think that John's, that other police officer would kill John. Do you think his family would want to think that his girlfriend would want to kill him? I mean, which one's better?
The one that was raising his kids, or the she?
Yeah. The stepmom. I'm sure that they weren't like, oh yeah, it's definitely her. I'm sure that upset them too.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Brian Fitz just brought up about the taillight, that people bring this up a lot. I have this actually. I have the video to show this here. If you want to take, guys, I made a smaller clip too. So if you want to take a look at this, give me a second. So he's saying that this doesn't show taillight. I pull this in this chat. All right. Just got to share the screen. He's saying that this doesn't show pieces missing, and that would be the key thing.
It depends which one.
Now, this is so I think most people watching know. Let's see if we got this here. All right. That this is at 5 a.m. when Karen pulls out. All right. And you can note the brake lights are also in the rear window, so they only go on at a certain time. Now, I actually have, let me pull up a better video than this. I have one that zooms in on it. Oh, there it is right there. Actually, it shows at the end of it. Okay. All right. So see right there, this is where I think, and I can't say with certainty, but see that white glare there?
Mm-hmm.
This is where I think there's a piece missing. So you don't see it from behind it. You'll see it from a side view on the corner.
Right.
And possibly some of the other videos might show this with Cassie's Corner convenience store or the library or something.
Right. You can see that something is off on the right side. I mean, that's clear. And that's a pretty, blurry video.
You can see the white. Like, I think that's where as I have a video where I zoom really close and it's like you can see the white missing. Like, it's not like it's gone.
Right.
Like, that video where it's taken out and people are like,
yes.
Oh my God, where's our taillight go? They took it out.
Everybody's losing it over that.
That's for evidence because it's obviously going to be brought in the courtroom. Like, they're not going to keep it on the back of the car so the pieces fall out. But there's definitely pieces missing. Mm-hmm. So what happens? Because she has that automatic braking, and in those texts we saw Turtle Boy was concerned about that too. He's like, well, if she had automatic braking, we can't say that she hit her car backing out.
Right.
So you can't say that.
That's always my question. So did she just ignore? This is what I think, and everyone could come at me. She set up that little situation to be like, well, that's how I broke or cracked or shattered, whatever, the taillight. But we all know that if she's reversing about to hit something, her car's going to let her know. Some cars, again, have the automatic brake system where it stops for you. So, did she just turn it off? I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well, I do have some interesting information to add to that. I think I've reported this for the last couple of weeks, but in case you hadn't heard it, that this is interesting. So Karen has a cousin in Florida who's an attorney and who's been helping her since early on in this case. That may have been where she fled to a couple weeks ago. I don't know. When the warrant, it was interesting how the police got a warrant for her phones, and within hours she was on a plane. Okay?
I know, that's not suspicious.
Maybe that's a coincidence, but
I don't think so.
But according to Natalie, her friend who was working with her or eventually working with her, that it was the cousin in Florida that first noticed on the Ring video that Karen bumped into John's car. So it sounds like Karen wasn't even aware of it until her cousin noticed it.
Oh, interesting.
That's interesting.
Well, it helped her, I guess. Well, for now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I saw something in Discovery where they said the cars were moved, where his car was in the driveway in the last video, and then there's videos that disappeared, and then there's that video that we just looked at.
Right.
So, I mean, that would mean that she knew she smashed up the taillight. She was hiding her car because she's like, oh, crap. She's calling. I don't know. It's going to be interesting when the voicemails come out. But, what was she thinking? Was she just going to hide her car? She probably thought she was going to get arrested for drunk
Yeah.
driving, like assault. She probably didn't think he was dead. And so she hid her car in there and like was like, why the hell isn't he answering? And then
Yeah,
went
I mean,
out
she
to
did
look.
call him a lot. She did call him a lot. And I think all of that kind of leans towards she was wasted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, kind of thought maybe she hit him. I mean, just the fact that in her interviews, and these are on TV, that was another big thing that I forgot to say. That in her videos, she's like, well, I thought, maybe in his drunkenness, again, it's his fault, or I unwittingly clipped him. And, it's like, how do you think that? And then you're like, oh, but I saw him go to the door too. That was the big moment for me. I was like, that's it. I was like, you can't see him go to the door and think that you hit him at the same time and say that you weren't drunk, that she only had 4. I mean, that was just another moment for me where I was like, not possible.
Yeah. And even the defense had not, when they put forward their theory in April, and that was part of their motion to try to get Brian Albert's phone. That's when they first put this theory out there. And then they also we're feeding it to Turtle Boy, and he put it out 6 days later. But even in that, nobody ever mentions Karen seeing John go up to the house. And in her original statements to the police, she didn't say that. So this was something that was invented over the course of the summer, seemingly,
Yeah.
A lot of things were invented this summer because it's like 18 months went by, and it's like the fact that she stopped talking to like his family and the kids and like
Right away.
Carl Dougal and his girlfriend who they like went out with all the time and stuff. It's like if she really did just find him dead in front of the house like that, she would be talking to everybody like, what do you think happened? Trying to get to the bottom of it. You wouldn't just stay silent and then 18 months come out with a conspiracy theory.
Right.
Like, it's insane.
And
like,
on
you think
top of
about
that,
the time.
if she's these kids that John, that became John's kids, this morning that this all happens, she's like disappears, it's like, that's it. How do you leave the kids with this loss after they've gone through their other first set of parents passing away and not stay and console them, whether you did it or not? It's like, how do you just not try to console the kids?
Mm-hmm.
She was in cover-up mode right away.
I know. It's like, at least try to make it look like you care, so that it doesn't look so obvious, but I don't know.
So what was some of the evidence that first pushed you guys? I know you mentioned a little bit there, but what's the one that really pushed you into the guilty camp? If you can recall it.
I think like Richard Green's, or whatever his name is, Green's report, like just reading that compared to how the defense presented it was just like, it was like how they're like, Jen McCabe was up all night pacing back and forth. Her health data shows her getting home, maybe going to the bathroom one time, and then waking up when Karen was calling. It's not pacing. Like, they just so mischaracterized everything in there. Like, her heart rate was the lowest it was all day when he was supposed to be murdered inside the house.
Yep.
Like, it's just, I don't know. Like, I don't even know how they got away with that. Like, can't she sue them for that? Because, like, look what they did to her.
After this, I have a feeling a lot of people are getting sued after this. I think, but that's another one of your videos that I was like, oh my gosh, if he's right, and she was just kind of chilling and went to the bathroom once, then that is completely different than what they were trying to make it sound like. Like, she's waiting all night. Is she going to call me? Is she going to call me? How would they even know that would be the first person Karen would call? It could have been, I mean, maybe it wasn't. I mean, we'll see. But there's no way she was waiting up all night for that. She didn't even think it was possible that would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's a really good point that you brought up, Matt, about the heart rate data. The only time it went up was at the accident, at the scene when where John was found, and then it went up and stayed up for about an hour. Then it was over 100.
Yeah. But I mean, if you're conspiring with 20 people or so the night before, I'm pretty sure your heart rate's gonna go up.
It would be for the roof.
Your friend just died. It's not, that's the other thing. Like, Jen was friends with John, like helping him raise the kids and helping him with things. He was basically a single guy minus Karen. And he probably went to her for help with things because the daughters were friends. So now she's going to kill him one night after a few cocktails? I don't know.
This was, I talked about a couple episodes a couple months ago, an attorney who wrote a long article about this back in September. His name is Kevin Mahoney. But he was saying, so you're going to have Jen on the stand in front of a jury and try to tell the jury that she's a true psychopath sociopath in order to plan all these things and have no feelings about them. And to me, even like if she was involved in the murders, when that phone call comes a little after 5, you don't pick up the call. You stay out of there.
Oh no, she had to go she had to pick her up and then plant the story in Karen's mind. That was her. She had many roles that night, Jen. many roles.
I don't even think Karen had her phone number either. She had to go to her daughter. So how would she have planned that? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I know. She woke the niece up to ask for the number because she didn't have it.
She knew where
That's another thing that we haven't heard the full thing, but they always have an excuse, is the interviews with the niece and nephew about their relationship and what was going on. So the cult decides that the answer to that is that Jen, of course, got to the kids and she convinced them that Karen did this. So that's why they said what they said, which is crazy.
So apparently this statement came out from Josh Levy, I think today, and this is about a different case. But people are all excited about this on the Free Karen Read side. Driven by greed, Mr. O'Donovan tried his hand at an old school bribery scheme in which he tried to bribe a police chief for the sake of lining his own pockets. Fortunately, his attempt was promptly thwarted by the integrity of the police chief he targeted, as he immediately reported him to the federal authorities. Our office remains committed to rooting out corruption in public offices.
Oh, they're going to lose it. I didn't even see this today. Okay.
Yeah. Today's sentence should serve as a warning to anyone who thinks you can corrupt government officials. I think he's trying a little too hard.
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole other situation that I'm not totally understanding what's going on, but I know you have some thoughts on that, right, Kev?
But everybody's heard mine. So Matt, what do you think on all that stuff?
I don't know. Like, I don't know, because I've heard some things from people, but like, it seems like that her defense team is the one that kind of planted that seed somehow. But like, they shouldn't. If they did, they shouldn't know what's going on in that investigation.
Right.
Like they shouldn't be privy to what's happening. So it's weird.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Yeah, even if there is this cover up of the century going on and the feds have uncovered it, why are they informing the defense of this routine, regularly?
Right.
It's highly improper.
Yeah, that sounds a little corrupt,
But I don't know if Matt deals with Sean at all. And do you deal with Sean at all, Matt?
No, someone was saying I've heard the name recently a lot, and I'm just like, who the hell is Sean in the Golf? Like,
oh yeah, he's a big player, especially right now. And if I don't ask you about the taillight picture, Kevin, then I will never hear the end of it. So let's discuss. Sean is very into. He has a picture, and he's promoting it like crazy on X. And then he puts like little stickers on it so you can't see what it is. And he gets everybody going, and they're all like, "It's coming." So he still hasn't shown the actual picture. Many of us have seen the picture. Well, there's 2 pictures, but he claims that Kevin has all this knowledge, but he's not telling us. So what do you think, Kev?
Well, of course, because I am part of the McAlbert's great crime family,
Yep.
Sean sent me a couple of pictures this summer and he said I couldn't share. But the thing that baffled, one was a picture of the Karen's SUV with the taillight removed from the housing.
Mm-hmm.
And the other one was similar, but from a different angle. And it showed a long scratch, like 16 inches long, maybe, or definitely a foot long anyways, on the side of the auto of the car, on the frame. And I remember looking at him in the first picture. I'm like, what does this say to you? I don't understand. And he didn't really give me an answer. And he's like, well, obviously that shows there's a conspiracy. And I'm like, how is that? You saying the conspirators like made a little photo book and documented their crime? I don't understand what you're saying. And he didn't really reply. And I'm like, so obviously this was some days later when Karen's private investigators were given access to the vehicle. They took these pictures, and during the course of the police investigation, I don't know. I'm not a cop. I don't know why, but they removed that, presumably to match up to the broken pieces. I didn't see anything suspicious in it. And he keeps insisting that I have this evidence that will blow the conspiracy wide open.
I mean,
if I got it from him, so why don't, if I have this evidence, you have it too, Sean. So
right.
blow it open.
That's what I keep saying. I'm like, so if you have it, show it, you know, why are you playing these games? And why are we like, you know, posting riddles all day? Like, I'm sure it's entertaining to him in some way, but he does have this following that really believes what he's saying, you know, and they're hanging on to his every word, and every day it's any day now, the feds are swooping in any day now. This has been going on since August. I mean, when are people going to just be like, I don't know, you know? So that's the thing. It's like, I said to him, because I have a friendly relationship with him, I said, I understand you have these pictures and you think Kevin has the same pictures. I said, but I think maybe you're just interpreting it in a different way than other people. And I don't know that it's the bomb that you think it's going to be. And I think that's what's happening.
It brings up an interesting point. I want to ask you, Matt. Sometimes there are times here, I hate to say it, a lot of it with Sean, who I like personally. But I just wonder if this case is making some people lose their minds and they're just becoming unhinged from reality. Are you finding that at all?
I mean, so my brother's girlfriend who first like turned me onto this, like now she has come around and she's like, just for the record, I was only sipping the Kool-Aid. I was not totally drinking it. Because I think, I don't know, like you're on the edge and like some people are following it closely, but people that are following it closely should know. And those are the people you have to worry about. Right. But like people that are just casually hearing about it, like I can understand like why they would, you know, you pick one side or the other, you don't know the details of the case. Mm-hmm. But the people that are following it closely that still think that, I just don't understand what explanation they have for any of this.
Right.
Like, so.
I mean, it's to the point where I can see something with my own eyes and someone on X will be like, that's not what that is. And I'm like, but it is. Like, what are you talking about? I could hear something and they're like, that's not what you heard. So I do think people are losing it. I really do, because I'm like, are we on the same planet? What is happening?
I mean, if you read Turtle Boy's blogs, like how he flips things, like it's just, no matter what happens, like the Natalie stuff comes out and then it's all about her. But it's like, all right, dude, you were working with her and you got caught and now you're like trashing her. Don't you do that to everyone?
It happens to everyone along the way. I mean, honestly, if you switch or if you even question anything, you're getting a blog, you're getting threats of a blog, you're getting pizza sent to your house. I mean, there's no end to the craziness. And that's just for asking questions. I mean, if that doesn't sound like a cult, I don't know what does, you know?
Yeah, that's where, and that'll lead to the next question, the nastiness and some of the stuff that that's how, for me, it started even before I had kind of what they call the outburst episode where I confronted Aiden. But before that, I really kind of took the role of, I had Dave and Erin on with me every night. And I was kind of taking the role of host. I'm just going to gently ask questions and kind of let them do a lot of the talking. And, but just by asking questions, people started whole threads on the Facebook groups. There's something wrong with Kevin. There's something wrong with his brain. He's got tumors. He's got this and that. And it was just, you know, he's yellow. He's a coward. It's just, I'm sitting there like, what? Because I'm asking questions. Isn't that normal in a case? But
every case is normal except this case. I'm telling you. And Matt, you too. I mean, I've said this before. Like I've posted about hundreds of cases and never have I seen anything like this or had people go after me personally in real life? Never, ever, ever.
No, it's
right.
His pull is strong. I think. Yeah. I think his whatever it is, and it's like because like before all this, like I did read some of his blogs. I knew some people personally that he attacked, and like it just was like it wasn't like a real story. It was just like hate, and it was like pulled stuff off of Facebook and just kind of like trashed their kids, and it was just nasty. And like I was kind of defending this, and it was someone that I knew from high school, not even someone that's in my life now, but I was just like, this is just gross. Like I don't care if it's true or not. Like why are we? And I was like arguing with these people, and they're all just saying the same thing, and I'm just like, what is this? Like why do they hate like people's kids. Like you're talking about like teenage kids. I don't know. And so it was just like it's like a hate cult or something. Like
It is,
it's
though.
like getting like the nastiest part of human nature and like exposing
Yeah.
it kind of.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Everyone likes to gossip.
It's like gossip, but it's like his job is to find dirt, dig it up, make a blog, make it fit. Then the cult just believes it because he says it. And then these people have these stains on their life just because of that. And why? What, because they went to DCF at some point. I mean, he finds anything he can. And if he doesn't find it, he makes it up. So that's the real kind of shady part of the whole thing. But again, how you were saying, you're getting a lot of the same answers. Like, it's always the same thing. Like, even when I was promoting for this, they're like, well, you three have a grudge against Turtle Boy. You three are jealous of Turtle Boy. That's why. I'm like, who? None of us do. I'm like, you could say it as much as you want. None of us have a grudge. We don't think he's a good guy, but not many do. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
They want it to be that, but that's not how it is. That's not the truth. So it's annoying.
Yeah, it was an interesting thing to go through all this, but I didn't know. I had heard of Turtle Boy before this. On April 18th was when the first time I saw the article, and then started following for a few weeks, watching his shows. And he's always promoting this thing called Ratchet Madness. I didn't even really know what it was, And now my understanding is that really most of the entire Turtle Boy phenomena is not built around journalism. It's there is not to say that there isn't journalism that hasn't occurred or doesn't happen, but it was built around the idea of making fun of people. That's
absolutely.
So it's bullying at its core.
Yeah.
That's
and the funny, well, not the funny, the strange thing is, they cheer it on and they look at it as a form of entertainment, and that kind of makes him want to do these crazy things more, which is why he's in jail. And he's still from jail intimidating the witnesses via blog, so it's like, when are you going to learn? It's so strange to me. It's like, you're in there because of this and you're still finding a way to do it from jail.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like his lawyers were able to give him any common sense, because he's still doing the same thing,
Right.
I sort of feel like he wants it to be like this whole big First Amendment thing, so he can be like this hero. Right. And I feel like he likes this attention. Like he's probably getting more. I don't know. He's probably happy in jail as long as he gets more followers. Like,
strangely, yeah.
It's true. The attention has to be a big part of it. But I think if he were in I think he's in the medical part of the jail, so it's not that tough there. It's like probably gets treated okay there. But if he was in the regular spot, I don't know.
Dave McGrath will vouch that I started telling him all the way back in August, and telling him over and over again, Turtle wants to be arrested. And that was 2 months before he was. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, because it's part of the whole messianic complex. The Savior has to be sacrificed. I'm not saying he wants to be killed or stay in jail forever. No, of course not. But there's a process. He wanted to be the ultimate victim there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And you could read it in his blogs every day. It's like, they have me locked away and I didn't do anything. And I'm like, who is he talking to? Like, what do you mean you didn't do anything? And the people he's locked away because they want to keep him quiet. I'm like, no, he's locked away because he pushed his pregnant mistress and was already in trouble. So had to get his bail. It's like, how are they acting like this didn't happen?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
It's
just
insane.
because he's exposing corruption, that's why he's in there. It's not because he's harassing people. It's not standing outside of businesses, scaring people away. Like, I mean,
17-year-old boy. I mean, not that. Never.
I think it took a long time for him to be arrested, actually. I was like, how far is this going to go? Before something happens. I was like, I couldn't believe some of the, because it was every night, and him calling people and doxing them and going to their houses, sending people to their houses, and just
posting pictures of them, posting pictures of their kids,
right?
Calling them literally every night. You are a murderer, like putting it out there like a fact. These people are murderers, and then just having everybody run with that, And some of them really do believe it. I'm like, do you understand? They're not even suspects. They're not even close to anything, except if you're in this little world, where you believe that.
This is where in my process I started feeling guilty. Not that I was participating in any of that, but following the channel for a few weeks, Turtle Boy, and then realizing how much cruelty, how much they were enjoying attacking the witnesses. It was not about trying to, hopefully, it was not about the truth. It was just about this
Right.
enjoyment when trying to destroy other human beings, and you could feel it, you could see it,
Mhm.
and it was disturbing to see it, but.
Absolutely. The laughing. It's like, I feel like a lot of this is very childish behavior, to be honest with you, like 12, 13-year-old kind of stuff.
Exactly.
X with the stuff that he says and does, the followers. It's just crazy to me.
So if you guys will indulge me a little bit, you might find this interesting. This is, I don't know if, do you follow at all the Delphi murders at all, Matt?
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay.
Not closely, but like there's a lot of weird things in that case, like a lot of strange things. I know that his lawyer like gave up. I think that was the latest thing that I heard. I mean, I just don't understand how it took them so long to find this guy in like a town of 200 when
Yeah.
he literally
Yeah.
gave a statement the same day. Like,
Yeah, because and I'm going to get to a little bit of that here, but the FBI is the answer. And so this new motion that just came out today for anybody out there who follows this is interesting because it has relevance to the Karen Reed case. So Richard Allen was arrested. The evidence against him is extremely compelling. His own words put him at the crime scene minutes before the girls got there. Numerous witnesses saw him. He described the witnesses. They described him. And that's all. There's also an unspent cartridge was found at where the bodies were, and it's been linked to his gun. There's other evidence too. But to me, people might entertain the possibility that he had accomplices or was helped or something like that. Okay, but there's no question that he was there and he's guilty. But the defense is, and also in prison last spring, he confessed to his wife and his mother on the phone, and that is admissible. So they had to come up with an incredibly elaborate theory to explain all that. And what they came out this September was an Odin cult that they blamed on. And they said that Richard Allen had nothing to do with the crimes, and he's a patsy that's being used here. But this is interesting, though. So it turns out, all right, so if you can read this here, the defense has unearthed significant evidence that third parties named Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall. So Brad Holder, his son, who was an older boy, like, I don't know, 16, 17, 18, was strangely dating Abby, who was only in the 7th grade. So in the days afterwards, naturally, he became a suspect. So the FBI, yes, those guys who screwed up this case royalty, went and interviewed Brad. And the only way the defense found out about this was this summer, I think in September, they got a document. So that's what it says here. The defense found a document dated February 17th. So that's actually 4 days after the murders, that appears to be an FBI report memorializing an interview of Brad Holder. Contained within the document are these words. The below is an interview summary. It's not intended to be verbatim account, and it does not memorialize all the statements made during the interview, but the communications by the parties in the interview room were recorded. So, and then it turns out, and then they also had interviewed this Patrick Westfall, a friend of his, and it doesn't say whether those were recorded, but they presumably were, since they'd recorded the first guy. But then what happened was, it turns out, and this was only told to the defense recently, though that recording doesn't exist. It was taped over with. I'll find. So, all right. So recently, the prosecutor. Oh, that's a little bit further. Hold on a second. All right. So they said, the prosecutor said, due to a DVR program error discovered on September 20th of 2017, though. So back then, all recordings up to February 20th were recorded over. So the FBI, if this is believable, actually recorded over the evidence. And so that the defense is saying this could potentially be exculpatory evidence because they've basically accused these two guys of being the killers. And so if they could, you know, I don't know. What do you think?
That one has a whole other, this is another one of these cases where it's like you either believe this whole cult conspiracy theory again, right? Or you kind of go with what makes the most sense, you know, and what seems more likely. But it's interesting. Kevin mentioned that part about the security guards. I don't think people realize that about the jail call with his wife, right? Was it the wife and the mom? Yeah.
Yeah. So the as I said, the defense had to has to come up with a way of explaining why Richard Allen confessed to the crimes. Right. And what they did was they said there were two guards at the prison who were part of this Odinist cult who scared him into confessing. And but it does turn out that
right?
They're actually it turns out there were two guards that were wearing Odin symbols, and they've had to since be told by the warden that that's not allowed anymore.
Isn't that weird?
So I did go down this rabbit hole a little bit. So the markings on the tree, though, that was like what I was like, okay, that is blood splattered. But they said it's like a T or something, but it did not look like someone drew it at all. It just looked like a murder scene.
Yeah, I haven't looked at that in a while, but I remember thinking that it sounded like some kind of satanic situation there with the way that he set them up. But again, I don't know that much about this case. I just kind of know the basics. But it is weird. I mean, it's so weird. Just the whole setting them up. And I even ran this by Kevin. It's like he took the time to like undress one of them, dress the other one in multiple layers. It's weird. But I guess he was in a spot where really no one was going to see him anyway. So it didn't really matter.
Yeah.
But
and then so they also, the FBI took the effort to have a warrant created, file for a warrant to search those two guys' phones back at the time, but they never did exercise that warrant. So the defense is trying to portray that as suspicious, when in reality, the simplest explanation is that they must have, in that time period, managed to establish an alibi for those two guys and ruled them out as suspects.
Right.
So they saw no reason to get the phones.
But it's one of those things which is similar to this. It's like one thing can kind of get people thinking, ooh, it might be this. And that's again, it's more exciting, it's juicier, and it's a great story. So people kind of latch on to these little things. And I think a big part of even the Karen Reed case to me was like, I was kind of focusing on little things too, all along the way. Like, again, the things we talked about, the search, the steps. But if you look at like the whole big picture, and you don't overly focus on those things, it just makes more sense. And the data, of course, that she hit him. She was drunk and she hit him.
Here's one last aspect of this motion, and then we'll get off the Delphi stuff, unless you guys want to talk about it. So they interviewed this guy, Brad Holder, back at the time, and he said that he never met Abby. Okay, supposedly his son was dating her. But then in August of 2023, so this past summer, there was a follow-up deposition. Because at this point, the state of Indiana understood that the defense was going to use this theory of trying to blame these guys. So now, just like with Lucky or the Plowman, you're forced to go back and do these interviews. So they went and interviewed in 2023, and now he had changed his story to, instead of saying he never met her, he's now saying, I barely even knew that girl. I met her once. So the defense is going to seize on this.
Ugh.
I mean, I guess that they have to try whatever they can.
Yeah. So we see a lot of that in the Karen Reed case too, seizing on any little discrepancy by a witness,
Right. There was one you mentioned earlier today about the phone. Was it Proctor getting the phone? And there was like
Yeah. Olivia, I don't know if you follow Olivia at all. I know you do, Karen. Matt, you probably do too. She's very prominent on Twitter. And I don't know if she seems to be getting her information possibly directly from the defense. But anyway, she's very intelligent and
she's like a cleaned up turtle boy. She takes what he says, adds big words, makes it sound good, and posts it on X.
Yeah. she's an effective advocate, but she is an advocate. She's not trying to explore the truth. She's clearly some kind of an advocate. So she posted this thing of Trooper Garino, who is the state police's forensic data guy. And he was brought in to look at the phones. And in his report, he said, Trooper Proctor went to the 34 Fairview that day and got the phone and gave it to me, and I looked at it. So Olivia is seizing on that to say, aha, see, that proves that Morrissey was lying, that Trooper Proctor was there that day. So what do you think about that?
I don't, so like I've read like a bunch of them and I have to like remember, but I remember that there was like talk about, I don't know, like it's not clear who picked up the phone, but it seems like one of the first responders did. They probably brought it back to the police station. Like, then it was in Proctor's custody, whatever. It was I don't know how they organize it, but that's what it sounds like to me. But I mean, I don't feel like it's a thing, like the whole Trooper Proctor thing. Like, even if, because it's like his relationship to them is like so far removed. It's like saying that, people that my brother and his wife are friends with, like I'm close with, that I'm going to cover up. If people that don't even know, it doesn't make any sense. So it's like the whole Proctor thing. It's like, I don't know.
I mean, the whole Proctor thing, even forget the relationship that they're trying to make so close. Like, the initial reasoning for him doing this was because he wanted to be cool, like the Alberts. He wanted to be a tough guy like the Alberts. Like, you're going to throw your whole life away, like overnight, to just help these guys get away with this? I don't think so, It's so silly.
And then the first responder, like, oh, she went to like school with the daughter, so she's going to cover up too.
Right,
Like,
so she's lying.
Right,
she's a victim. She's lying. And somebody said to me recently, if you really want to believe that Karen is innocent, basically right now the only people telling the truth are Karen and Aiden, and that's it. At this point.
And the thing, and the thing. See, to me, it's kind of exploiting these little things. So Trooper Garino is a data guy. He's not brought in to trace where the phone went and where. He's brought in to trace the data, and that's it. And so, however, he made an assumption that he didn't know how Trooper Proctor, I'm assuming he wouldn't know how Trooper Proctor got that phone and how it was transferred to him. He just put it in a report kind of innocently, not really thinking that it would be exploited later to try to, for this conspiracy theory. But, when did Trooper Garino when was he first brought in? I don't know that, but it definitely was not that day. So at the earliest, it would have been the next day. And who knows, it may have been a few days later, depending on what other cases he was working on. And he's brought in to look at John's phone and any other data aspects of the case. So he just wouldn't have known. It's an innocent statement on his part. At least that's the most likely explanation for it.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of that where there's stuff in the reports and they're like trying to pick apart like single words. And it's like, they're just listing. It's not, I don't know. It's just so weird because it's like, come on.
And you know what it is? They're coming at it from like a conspiracy angle. If you're looking at it like an accident, the report is just, it was an accident. And it doesn't have to be like this highly over-explanatory thing because it was a car accident, And so the things they did at the scene that day also, they looked at it like what it looked like to them. Like, he got hit by a car and they kind of, approach the scene in that regard instead of looking at it like a murder. And that bothers people, I know, but I mean.
I kind of approach it this way, like in any case, on the one side, the things that you can exploit that will be discrepancies or things that are unexplained now, but will be explained hopefully later by the time of the trial, but they can't really address them now. And they are important. I'm not saying, because they could be signs of a conspiracy or bad investigation or something like that. So those things, there's a level, they're going to be there in any case, right? And they're there. But on the other hand, then you have the actual foundational evidence. So to me, if that evidence is weak, then these discrepancies become a big thing. But if that evidence is compelling, and in this case, it's extremely compelling. So to me, this stuff just becomes things that'll be explained later for most part,
Things that'll be interesting to hear about at trial as well. But it seems like the goal is to, not have it go to trial. That's what they're attempting right now. So we'll see.
I mean, I have a feeling that if they're going to get to the first day of the trial and they're going to plead out, like it kind of seems like that might happen. I don't know if that would be a thing, but like, or if that's even an option, but, or she just says guilty.
Imagine. Oh, so many people will lose their minds. Oh,
I
God.
know. They're really, they're making her do it.
Yeah. She's in on it. Yeah.
Look for an Odin bailiff.
Yeah.
I know.
Seriously. Imagine, I can't imagine the backlash. I mean, right now, if they see a black SUV in Canton, it's like, we saw a black SUV, they're here. Like, it's really out of control right now.
One of the things that I like about Matt's video, so it seems like one of your approaches, Matt, is that you're baffled by people that don't seem to be able to think just in a common sense, analytical way. And then you kind of try to make fun of that.
It's hysterical. Some of the ones that were, what was the best one? The cast of Deliverance. I think that was one of them. Deliverance in tow.
I mean, it does look like that when they were following Carl Dougal and his wife around. Like,
it's ridiculous.
I was like, that's actually scary.
It's terrifying. Imagine. Oh my goodness. And the way now looking back, because back then I didn't really think the way I think now. I can't imagine how these people just kept a straight face, kept walking. None of the husbands beat the absolute crap out of him at some point. I mean, it takes a lot of willpower to not want to, you know, attack.
Right.
It seemed like that's what he wanted.
It does. It seems like he wants to push people, and then he has like a new blog to write. Look at, I got attacked, I'm innocent, and I'll believe it. Poor turtle boy.
Yeah, every day.
Like, ugh.
So let's talk about grifters. Are we all grifting, or what's grifting, what's not grifting in true crime if you're doing a channel like this?
Well, I would say grifting is when you are unwilling to look at one side because the other side pays you a lot more and gets you a lot more views. So if you're 100% in, which the three of us ended up switching, so, you know, but if you're 100% in, you're given things that make you wonder and you still like, I'm going to ignore that and I'm going to keep getting paid because I want to get paid more money rather than seek the truth. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, so on that show that, what is it called? Cyber Sleuths. I watched it last night, 3 episodes. So on the last episode, they go into the grifters and some of the people that were. So I guess because it's out there. So JLR, have you guys heard of him? He does a lot of true crime. He's like a really big one. So I think he thought he was doing the show like everybody else. And apparently he was like pretended to be a school shooter's father at one of the school shootings and like got on the news. He like pretended to be like Jews for Trump. Like he did all this stuff and like, so I think he's been and he has a huge following.
Oh, wow.
So that would be a grifter.
Yeah. So is he on TikTok or YouTube or both?
Both.
Oh, I
think he's really big on both because because I followed the Idaho murders and he covers that a lot, but I never repeated anything he said because like he's like my source and I'm just like, I don't know about that. And like, so on that show, they were kind of like, yeah, we don't know. He says he's gotten away from all the lying and stuff, but
that's shady.
I don't know.
Are you on the actual show?
I wasn't sitting there interviewed, but like episode 2, I'm in it a lot. Like they use my clips. So it's good. Like, cause the first episode is like, they're showing just the craziness around the Idaho murders.
Yeah.
The middle's like the arrests and all that. And then the last part is like how people are making money, you know, the grifters.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I feel like, I mean, Turtle Boy was never like a sleuth really.
No, I know.
But like he kind of stepped into that for this case.
For this case,
sort of.
Yeah.
But like he did not even read, like when I was like debated with him that time, like he did not even read the original document because like he didn't even know some of the stuff I was saying. And I'm like, how has he written 100 blogs on this?
Right. Well,
like, like what is he doing?
I know.
So it was just like, he doesn't understand a lot of the legal stuff, I don't think either. And it was just like, it's weird. It's weird because it's like, I think his audience too is probably not true crime people. So they don't use like assess the evidence and do all that, so they're
Right.
easier to like manipulate.
Yeah, it's new to
So-
all of them, I think. And it
Mhm.
used to be the ratchet kind of crap, and then all of a sudden
Yeah.
it was a real case, So I think that they're not in that, mode really. But yeah, grifter, I mean, there's a few here on YouTube. I guess I won't name them, but you know who they are.
I mean,
To me, I came up with a simple definition. Yeah, there's different ways you can do it, but for me, it was there's two aspects of it. One is if you really don't even care about the truth, all right,
Yeah.
you're not even pursuing it. You're just on an angle. But two, and an angle that obviously the one that is the one that's going to get you the most views. But then two, you don't care about who you hurt, because to
Yeah.
me, if you're gonna be a grifter if you're gonna do a conspiracy theory on Jack the Ripper, who cares? All those people are gone. You're not really hurting anybody. So to me, that's kind of harmless to me, and I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
But if you're going to do this with a modern case, and now you're going to start pointing a finger at people that are actually going to be damaged by this,
Right. Big time too. I mean, imagine their existence. Like, I try to think about that. Like, I can't imagine how they feel every single day, trying to leave the house. Chris Albert has to sit at those meetings and listen to Rita like and not want to like jump out of his seat at the Canton town meetings. I mean, it's just a lot, That's his kid too. And like, people argue with me on X all the time. Colin was 17 at the time. Like, find me a 45-year-old man that gives a shit what a 17-year-old boy is doing and has such a beef with him that he wants to physically fight a kid.
I know.
Like, it's so dumb. Like, imagine, like, if my husband was like, oh, I want to beat up the neighbor's kid because he threw, and he didn't even throw anything on that lawn. But it's just so unreal, that would be the beef.
It is. And like the fact that these are just like regular people. So like for us, we have kind of a platform so we can fight back a little bit. But like people, just regular people getting attacked like that, they have like no defense at all.
No,
because they don't have a platform.
It's not right.
So-
That's why I'm still doing it. I mean, honestly, if I would have known the backlash, I'm not sure that I would have, but I feel like I'm just trying to help in some kind of a way, just to give the other side. Like, you
so
guys
if you guys are still having fun and it's not past your bedtime, do you want to watch? This is a clip that I found really interesting. Interesting at what I should say, entertaining. So if you're interested, I'm going to play like a few minutes of it. Is that all right with you guys?
Yeah, I could do like another 10 minutes.
Obviously, the direction that Karen was giving him.
Let me go back a little further.
Oh, that's my twin.
I want to start by just asking each of you for your general thoughts in reading this application for the seizure of the phones and what, if anything, jumped out at you the most in taking a look at it. Jennifer, ladies first, please. I'll start with you.
Well, good morning, Julie. What really jumped out at me was the involvement of the attorneys, the meetings that the attorneys had with this blogger, Odin Carney, is very concerning. Obviously, the direction that Karen was giving him, at least it's really laid out there in black and white with the demonstrative evidence to support it. So I don't think that can be denied. At this point, we can see it in black and white, Julie. But to have those attorneys being involved with this direction is really concerning.
Definitely, Jennifer. It was noted in that search warrant application that there was a lunch with the attorneys and Karen Reed and Turtle Boy, although there have been public denials by everybody of knowing each other personally and having that kind of close personal contact. I want to go to you next, please. Michael Wilhite, your thoughts on what really jumped out at you the most?
It would have been definitely the number of calls in the period of time in the short period of time that it was. The number of calls basically truly shows that there's definitely a relationship there. What it is, we don't know, but there's something's going on there.
Mm-hmm. Lots of calls. And it was also noted in that search warrant application that police say that there was a former friend, who acted as a go-between so that Karen Reed wouldn't be seen having direct contact with Turtle Boy, so she would relay the messages to the friend. It was noted in the warrant this friend said that she initially believed Karen Reed's story, but then has since changed her opinion and has shared with police everything she knows and passing along those messages so that the messaging wouldn't be direct. Corey Pegues, last but certainly not least, your biggest takeaway from reading this warrant?
Well, so, you know, they kind of hit at both the other guests. But the biggest takeaway is that people still think that they can get away with this stuff. This is amazing. You know, we go through these cases, Julie, all the time. And we're constantly saying an electronic footprint is going to seal this case. All the time. 189 calls, trying to get a go-between to send the messages, denying the fact that you know the person. Is 2024. If you're using a phone, a computer, or anything, for all the criminals out there, the electronic footprint will take you down.
So the reason so Jennifer posted a link to that, Jennifer Coffin-Daffer on Twitter the other day, and I watched it. And the reason I wanted to play it was because I'm just stunned by the emptiness of that conversation. I mean, these guys are supposedly experts. When they began that segment about saying how illustrious that we've never seen a panel like this before. And I'm like, did that sound like those two guys were saying anything to you, that they even had anything to add? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I mean, not really. it's all right. I mean, listen, Jennifer has been going at it with people from the beginning. I don't know who those other guys are.
Yeah.
Are they somebody special? I don't know.
I feel like Court TV has not good people. Like,
yeah, it
a
just
lot of the
bothers
stuff I
me.
see on there, I'm just like, does this person have a degree? Like, where do they come from? Because like they kind of say that they're experts, but sometimes it's just like,
yeah, those
like
are lawyers.
Turtle Boy needs therapy, but it's like, that's what you're gonna come out. Like, it's funny, but like, it's like look what he's doing. Like, it's a lot more than he needs therapy.
Oh my God, it's so much more than that. So
That's
much
exactly
more.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, the whole thing is, I mean, besides those speakers, if they really thought, I can't imagine that they really thought that this wouldn't come out. That's all I'm saying for Turtle Boy and Karen, you know? And
I mean, if the thing got dismissed, I mean, I think that was their goal, because I think that her phone seals her fate, and that's why they were holding on to it for so long. So that's why I'm like, is she gonna plead that like something's gonna happen?
Something is. I mean, any day now, right, guys? The 15th is the next court date, so unless
helicopters are circling.
Yeah, any day.
So what is the 15th court date? Do you know?
Yeah, what are they doing exactly at that one? Is it like their
Well,
last?
It's a pretrial motion,
Yeah.
right? So you're still wrapping things up to get ready for the trial. But Yannetti has promised to file motions that for the case to be dismissed, for the DA to,
Oh, right. This
I don't
is the
know,
big
you know, all that stuff.
Mhm.
So yeah, all that stuff. Supposedly the feds are gonna give them information by then if they haven't already. I don't know. So
What do
it
you
could
think
be a
about
big
this?
day or it could be nothing.
Do you think she'll have any charges for this, you know, the collusion with Turtle Boy?
I hope so.
I would
I
think
mean,
so.
I just want Lally to come up punching one day and just drop bombs.
I
Like,
know.
she's been keeping everything so tight.
He's so calm, you
And
know?
not letting like, because I mean, I know that there's like probably EDR data. There's probably like a lot of stuff that you could just be like, no, because blah blah blah, and just like let a little bit slip out. Because
I
if they're
know.
doing it,
Oh,
like,
yeah. I mean, but I guess by law, the Commonwealth cannot do it. But
really?
I don't know. Somebody told me that. I can't even remember who it was now, but maybe that's true. Maybe it's not. But they're not leaking anything. So I would think if they had something and they wanted to, I don't know that they could, but the defense clearly can.
Yeah, the rules are much stricter on the prosecution. You know, maybe for understandable reasons. There's a presumption of innocence, so you give the defense a little bit more. I had an idea for a show. This is something that you guys maybe be able to help me creatively with this, or maybe we can do it together, Matt. Because you're a good editor, I could do some editing too. But I'm not sure what to do with it. But here's the title of it: Curb Your Aidinism.
Oh
You can
God.
teach them how.
We'll need some
I don't
straight
know.
Strategies to curb your Odinism. Right. That,
I don't know.
mean,
Just one of my favorite TV shows, Curb Your Enthusiasm. So I
Yeah,
figured we could do something with that.
that's cute. And I think
That's
it could be
funny.
helpful.
What are you thinking, man? Anything we could do with that?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know. Like I don't know what people are doing. So I know that Turtle Boy's putting out like AI shows now. Have you guys seen that?
Oh my God. I almost lost my mind myself.
I'm just like, are people that obsessed? Like it's so
They
gross.
are. They are. They're making his voice out of AI and he's reading them crap through YouTube. And I'm like, what is happening here? What is happening?
I just wonder how many, because he has like 50,000 people or
On
something.
YouTube?
It's a
Like
lot.
how many
I
are
don't know.
really in that? Because I know there's like a lot of people, like I don't think I follow them, but like I know there's a lot of people like me that like watch, but they're like, ugh.
Right.
You know, like I know that that's probably a big portion of it.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
But I'm wondering how many are like the crazies.
It's a big
Like
question.
10%.
Concerning. Is all I know. It's very concerning. And a big part of this for me is that I found really disturbing is how many women support this man. Like he literally said in court that he sextorts women, that he uses revenge porn. I mean, the girlfriend says he abused her. He cheats on his wife. I mean, there's not one thing that you can be like, well, he's a good guy. Not one. And
Did you see?
making excuses.
Yeah, I know. Did you see the Masshole Mafia video that she did the other day?
Yeah, that was
Like
great.
I was just like, wow. So like he goes after these women, beats them down, and then he starts dating them. And I'm just
Mhm.
like, what?
And then he doesn't let them break up with him either. They can't break up with him, or else he starts the suicide thing, or he starts threatening them with the porn, that he has on them. So it's a really loving relationship all around. I mean, but then forget those girls that date him. There's these ones that are like, the whole video is lies. Kate's video is all lies. I'm like, it's his words and it's his audio put into a shorter form. But that's what they do.
Yeah, there's nothing even there that is made up. Like
No.
really, like our videos are just showing
Him.
like the facts. So
Yeah.
it's like
They're
I know
showing
that
him.
like
He admitted in court
Yeah.
that he takes these videos of people. He says because there's no there's no revenge porn
He's
law
like,
in
well, it's
Massachusetts.
legal, so now it's not legal. I wonder why that happened so fast. Yeah, he's like, it's legal, but I don't know. I mean, there's so many layers of that I'd be like, listen, if you are going to date him, don't allow any video, don't allow any pictures. I don't know, maybe.
oh, definitely don't date him.
Don't date him, period. But if you do, then, take precaution. You have to know what you're in for at this point,
But it's like, what do they see in that at all? Like, you know what I mean? Because he's just such an aggressive, nasty person. It's like, I can see people being entertained. Like when I was like younger, like we liked that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And like, just, I don't know. It's kind of like the whole Donald Trump thing too. Like how he's kind of like insulting to people. Like people just, it's like entertaining sort of, but it's like, do you really want someone like that in your life? Like,
that's the thing. It's entertaining to a degree,
Yeah.
But would you want to like date the person? Like if I just hope that my daughter is not ever in that. I will make sure that my daughter has self-esteem and doesn't put herself in any kind of situation like that. Oh yeah, that's right. That's always the answer. But everybody else is up for grabs,
I put up the quote from Steph, and she says they either say that or they say his personal life is none of their business.
Right.
And just to distinguish, for me, I don't care about his personal life. I really don't, and to me, the only reason it becomes relevant in a huge part of this story here is because the same methods that he tries to use to control these women, he uses to control reporters, 911 dispatchers. It's something the whole cult there is doing. They're digging dirt on you. And if you're someone that's working with him, they're still digging dirt on you in case you try to leave away, in case you start asking questions. They went after young jerks who did an episode where he was still extremely friendly to the Free Karen Reed side and friendly to Turtle Boy. But he said, I'm going to ask questions from now on. And as a result, Turtle Boy basically threatened him from jail and named him and said, Kevin Lenahan and now young jerks. you will not be forgiven, or whatever he said. And he said there is no wavering, and that was
Right.
directed at all the other grifting channels out there that might
Mhm.
waver and start asking questions, because you're not allowed to ask questions.
Yeah. So the next night, Young Jerks is back yelling, "Daddy wants to," and I'm like, "What happened here? Yesterday you were, and now you're back in line." It was that quick. So it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, right after I did that first live with him, the next day he's like in my DMs like, "You were exposed last night," and like trying to like, and then all of his like people were like just like
Mhm.
on every video reporting everything, and just like,
Yeah,
so
that's their other move. They report the
it makes
video.
it appear like you're, I don't know, like you're not the popular opinion at all.
Of course.
And then like, I guess he was telling people to ratio me and stuff, and like, which I was like, I don't even know what that is.
I don't
But I
know
guess
what that
it's
is.
like it's a way to like get your video suppressed, and it's like you give more negative comments and down likes, and it makes them suppress
Oh.
it. And so like before I did any of this, I was like $500-$600 a month on the creator fund on TikTok,
Nice.
and now it's like $20.
No.
So I'm
That's
not grifting.
No, I know. And that's why I get mad when they're like, "You're just trying to," I'm like, "No, none of us are doing any better because of this. Trust me." So
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the other side of it too. It's like, it isn't enough for him to just have you on and argue with you and beat you in the arena of ideas. And apparently it sounds like you're saying he did. I didn't see the show, that you weren't quite ready. And but that's not enough. He has to try to destroy you again after the fact too.
right. It's never enough. Mhm.
I mean,
But
I feel
everybody
like
loves that.
looking back on it, I wasn't that bad. I just was kind of like letting him talk, and like
No, you made actually really good points. You really did. And he couldn't answer. He yells over you. He does that, the tough guy.
yeah, he'd bring, were you ever at Fairview Road?
Right.
Have you ever been there? Like that has anything to do with anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And so like stuff like that. So like looking back on it, I'm like, oh, I could definitely like at least know what I'm dealing with.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
whatever.
He had all
But
the
I feel like
advantages because he's got the mic. He's in control. So
Mhm.
it's his
yeah,
show.
but I feel like people still, opinions were changed on that show too. Because I was like bringing up stuff that he's like, she didn't delete the ring cam footage. What are you talking about? And I'm like, it's literally in the goddamn first arrest warrant. Not
Right.
that she deleted it, but that's what they're insinuating,
Yeah,
since
yeah.
she's the only one that had access. But he didn't even know about it. And I'm like,
I think
Those
he
are-
honestly just gave whatever they told him to say and do, he did.
he just
They-
put it into third grade language and put it in a blog.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Curse
he's
a
like-
little, make it sound like trash, and then put it in a blog. Yeah. So, and and now that Karen was behind all that was another point to this women thing. Like Karen supposedly being this, successful woman in life, very classy, and she uses this guy to put this out there of all people. Like how does she not look at him and think, "Wow, you're a really shitty human"? Based on
I heard that she does think that about him.
Oh, maybe she
like,
thought she was using him then.
Yeah, no, I think so. I
Yeah.
think she does think he's trash, and like, but he likes, like, I don't know why, but he wants her like approval
Yeah. Oh, big time.
above all else.
Oh, big time. Yeah, I know. He looks at her like she's a god, and I'm like, I don't think she would give you the time of day.
I know
Yeah.
she's into those big burly guys. Not
Yeah,
this
yeah,
little
yeah, I don't think-
leprechaun.
Right. Exactly. But I gotta run, guys. I gotta go put my little guy to bed. But it was so fun. Let's do this again.
All right.
Great. Thank you for being here, guys. Matt, it was great to meet you. I talked to Karen once in a while, but fairly regularly. But it was good to meet you, Matt. I will continue to watch your videos, and
Yeah,
maybe
let's keep in touch, guys.
maybe we'll all figure out to do Curb Your Aidism. We'll figure out how to do something funny with
I
it.
could come up with some good. Matt could definitely come up with some good stuff.
Yeah, we'll do it.
All
All right,
good.
guys. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Have a good night.